The man never expected that after finally defeating the game's final boss, all the players had logged out. Except him, he couldn't leave, and somehow ended up in the game world 500 years later. When he first arrived in this world, the man sensed something was off. It didn't feel like a game. After checking his stats, he found his level absurdly high, but the logout screen was still missing, so he took out a guidance item to lead him back to his in-game home. But when he got there, he saw a girl being dragged away by thugs at the door. Just a few steps in, a massive wild boar monster appeared ahead. The thugs dropped her and ran. At the critical moment, the man stepped in and killed the monster. The girl brought her savior into the shop. She was watching the store for her master. When the man heard her master's name was Shunalaze, he remembered he was once his in-game subordinate and immediately said he knew her master. But the girl didn't believe him. Then the man pulled out a gold coin. This shocked the girl, because only a few kings of rare races could retrieve items from other dimensions. To learn more, the man decided to give her the gold coin and saw through her at a glance. She was a cursed body. If she left the barrier around the house, monsters would attack. The man used a skill to analyze the source of her curse, then tried a purification skill and easily lifted the curse, which brought tears to his eyes. Afterward, the two stepped outside the barrier. Sure enough, no monsters approached, and the girl finally embraced long-lost freedom. The man never expected that he had simply killed a monster casually and reported it to the guild, only to find he had completely stunned all the guild staff. It turned out that to them, a level 359 undead knight was a kingdom-class monster. This meant the man alone had the power to rival an S-rank adventuring party. Just as the man was about to eat something, a skilled fighter sat down across from him, level 188, known as the Vampire Will. And Will also noticed the man was no ordinary person. As the two praised each other, their food arrived, and they peacefully finished their meal together. Afterward, the man went to the library, but found no information about dimensional travel. Meanwhile, the guild executives finished appraising the undead knight's items and confirmed the man hadn't lied. All were shocked by his strength. At that moment, the man was enjoying local snacks from this world. He saw a child watching nearby, so he offered her some. The child gratefully accepted. As it turned out, she was a good friend of Will. Though Will looked hard to approach, he was actually very kind. As they were parting, the child ran up to the man, whispered in his ear, and asked him to go to the northern forest to save the foxes. Then they said goodbye. The next day, the man arrived at the little shop. He left a token for the girl, so that when her master returned, he would recognize the man's identity upon seeing it. Then the man set off for the northern forest. The man never expected the little fox he went to save was actually a level 211 spirit fox, one of the rarest top-tier divine pets in the game. Just moments ago, Jake said hello to the girl at the small shop and headed deep into the northern forest. The moment he stepped in, he sensed this place was anything but ordinary, but he didn't care and kept moving forward. Ahead, he saw a shrine. After opening the door, he found a small white fox lying inside. He guessed this must be the target of his mission. Jake discovered the fox was both poisoned and cursed, and seriously injured. Jake immediately used healing magic to remove the negative effects. After the white fox woke up, the barrier outside the door broke. A large group of skeleton soldiers surrounded the area. Jake was fearless. He summoned weapons to fight them and crushed the enemy completely. Once everything was settled, the statue in front of Jake began to glow. From within emerged two massive white foxes wrapped in miasma, and they were level 674. Extremely powerful enemies. After dodging their attacks, Jake used magic to bind their movements, but the enemies released a mist, blocking all of Jake's senses. Fortunately, the white fox guided him to the core of the formation. Once he arrived, Jake was actually able to see through the mist. He unleashed his full power and unbelievably killed both beasts in a single strike. After the battle, Jake checked the white fox's stats. Level 211 spirit fox, one of the rarest top-tier divine pets, and it seemed to really like Jake, willing to follow him. Jake never imagined leveling up while lying down, yet it actually came true. To help Sister Lily learn the purification skill, they arrived at the undead plains. Their goal was to defeat 200 undead monsters above level 150. He would first weaken the monsters, then Lily would finish them off with magic. After repeating this process, the previously powerless nun surprisingly leveled up past 150 in no time. Before this, Jake had rescued a white fox spirit from a shrine and formed a master-servant contract with it. After gaining the divine pet, enemies weaker than him could no longer detect his true race. Back in town, Jake headed to the guild. The twin receptionists almost argued over who got to assist him. He then accepted a request from the orphanage to find someone with the purification skill, and Jake happened to know how to acquire it. There he met Millie. Jake was able to obtain the white fox thanks to her, and the little white fox was adored by the children at the orphanage. During their conversation, Will appeared and met Jake again. He said he was also from the orphanage and one of its guardians. Jake explained the conditions for learning the skill. It must be done under the Sanctuary of Prayer State, where the learner must personally defeat 200 high-level undead monsters. The difficulty shocked everyone, but Will still decided to help complete the mission. The next day, the three headed to the undead plains. Jake bestowed the sanctuary upon Lily, then split up with Will to hunt monsters. Lily stayed in place, and her level soared rapidly. The man never expected. While grinding monsters to level up, a black sphere suddenly appeared in the sky and transformed into a nation-destroying skeleton lord. With a staggering level of 804, the skeleton lord summoned endless undead and shattered the undead plains barrier with a single punch. Upon seeing this, Will immediately concluded it was a nation-destroying monster. The three were instantly surrounded. Will suggested retreating, but the man refused. He lifted his restraints. His kingly aura stunned the battlefield. The man decided to face the skeleton lord alone. He boosted Will's speed, then cast a spell. A powerful strike opened a breach, allowing them to break through the encirclement. The man could now fight without holding back. The little white fox spat out blue foxfire. The undead instantly turned to ash. The man plunged his katana into the ground. Red lightning burst forth. Skeletons were wiped out in waves. A huge crack has appeared on the ground. Far away, Shuni sensed a familiar presence and rushed over to assist. When the two met, it was indeed Shuni, the former NPC attendant in the game. The white fox created a barrier to block the enemies. Shuni leapt into the man's arms. Her 500 years of solitude finally ended. Master and servant joined forces, casting magic that countered undead poison. Holy light shone in the sky. The undead vanished one by one. The man struck with a single slash. The skeleton lord collapsed instantly. The two and the fox found a place to rest. The man recounted how he cleared the game and crossed over 500 years into the future. The little girl never imagined. She had asked the man for money in the name of this shop, only to find out in the end. The man turned out to be the owner of this shop. Just moments ago, the man and Shuni had joined forces to defeat the Skeleton King. Then they returned to the small shop. Annie saw her master and immediately rushed over. She noticed the man behind her master and felt confused. The master said he was the owner of this shop. Annie was shocked. The owner of this shop was a high-level human. She quickly apologized to the man. After all, she had asked him for money before. Dinner was personally cooked by Shuni. The dishes were ones Annie had never seen before. Though they looked ordinary, each dish radiated a powerful aura. The man and Shuni calmly discussed the ingredients. All of them were rare beasts. They chatted casually, as if they could easily obtain them. Annie, meanwhile, was utterly stunned. At night, the man returned to a familiar room and fell asleep. He woke up in the middle of the night to find Shuni lying beside him. He wanted to wake her, but saw tears on her face. They were tears from 500 years of lonely waiting. The next morning, Shuni had already left, but he discovered his pet had transformed into human form. The man prepared clothes for her. The group discussed. Shuni mentioned that Jylet was still alive. The man was shocked. Jylet had once been his NPC attendant. Now he was the king of the orcs. His life was nearing its end. The man decided to see him one last time. He planned to set off the next day, and before that, he needed to forge some weapons. The girl never expected it. The man not only had a teleportation stone, he could also shrink a house and store it inside an unremarkable necklace. This was a lost ability from 500 years ago. Before that, the man brought Annie to town. Annie hasn't left her home in 100 years because of a curse. Everything here felt fresh and new to her. She instinctively held the man's hand and wandered around until the man reminded her she didn't know the way. She realized she was lost. Looking at her hand being held by the man, she blushed unconsciously. The two arrived at the guild. The receptionist found a merchant escort request. The destination was exactly where the man needed to go. They accepted the task together. Before setting off, they went to the orphanage to say goodbye, and left behind a protective charm imbued with magic. The man was going to search for his former NPC attendant. Only after leaving the item did he feel at ease to depart. Then the man used the teleportation gem. With a flash of light, the two were already standing in front of the shrine. He stored the entire house into a necklace form. The man found the employer. Also traveling with them were a dragonkin and a red-haired lowly. Unexpectedly, they encountered bandits blocking the road. The bandits made vulgar remarks toward the red-haired lowly. The man was furious. His killing intent surged, but the bandits showed no fear. Suddenly, a sharp arrow flew in, disrupting the bandits' ambush. Everyone engaged in battle. The red-haired lowly defeated an enemy with a single punch. The dragonkin slashed down an opponent with one strike. The man easily took care of all the enemies. The bandit leader was terrified. The magic sword in his hand was shattered by the angry man with a single blow. Then he was captured and interrogated about his origins. The man never expected that he only wanted a beast of burden to pull a cart, but his NPC attendant brought him a divine beast the size of a small mountain at over 700 levels. The man had just completed a guild commission and planned to wait for Shuni in town, considering the long distance, while preparing to modify a carriage, so he bought a carriage from the store. At that time, Shuni had just finished handling kingdom affairs, and, upon learning of the man's location, immediately took on the task of finding a horse. The man, meanwhile, planned to find an inn to rest. The stall's proprietress enthusiastically recommended a place, which turned out to be the most luxurious inn in town, with a steep price. However, the environment was indeed top-notch. They decided to wait there for Shuni's arrival. The next day, the man quickly completed the carriage modifications, leaving Annie, who was watching, utterly stunned. At that moment, Shuni arrived outside the city gates. When they saw the horse she had brought, both were so shocked they were speechless. It was actually a giant divine wolf, not only capable of pulling the carriage, but also able to shrink in size, making it convenient for staying at inns. This was exactly the reason Shuni had chosen it. The group immediately set off for Fanai. The divine beast pulling the carriage was truly extraordinary, given its extremely fast speed. With the man's modifications, there was almost no sense of bumpiness inside the carriage. A few days later, they arrived in Fanai, where the local guide was already waiting. They put away the carriage, shrunk the white wolf, and followed the guide into a house. The man finally met his second NPC attendant.